Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Deadfire, with me, Bring It On. Let's speak to Two-Eyed Pim.
Much ado to you, Casita.
The captain flourishes a sweeping bow. When he bends forward, a golden swallow slips from his collar to dangle on the end of its chain. He tucks it away as he straightens, but not before you notice the etching on its front side. It marks him as the third chair on the Consuelo Mascasitas.
A word of advice. Guard your back in Dunnage. You have not yet carved a name for yourself or your crew. Yet you choose to swim in a sea of sharks. Should one take a bite, the Consuelo will not intervene. Elsewise, how might I be of assistance?
Is there someone or some place I should avoid while in Dunnage?
You may have noticed a divide between old blood and the new, by which I mean those who descended from or otherwise hold old Valia in grand esteem, and the varied and often uncouth recruits we have since brought into the fold. I assure you, the latter was supremely by necessity, though perhaps I am ill-equipped to throw stones. As a casita of some repute, you will be most welcome in the king's coffin, but you should watch yourself throughout the radiant court.
Well, that's where I'm headed next.
You have my ear, Casita. Of what do you wish to discuss today?
Why do you speak like a Valian? Captain arches a dark brow.
I met Ferrante decades ago. Many years I sailed as his first mate before building my own humble fleet.
With an affected shrug, he sweeps a hand to indicate the room.
When in the Principe, do as the Valians do. Unless, of course, you have no care for tradition or the continued sustainability of our way of life, like some filthy new blood.
Tell me about the Consuelo Mascasitas.
Yes, our council of captains.
He tips his head toward the semicircle of elaborately ornate chairs, aligned on the other side of the room.
There are 7 seats on the Consuelo, each occupied by a high-ranking captain within the Principe. Seat holders convene to vote on a variety of issues concerning the Principe's well-being. To claim a seat, a captain must have substantial backing and sufficient power both politically and physically. Ferrante, the last Marcheso, holds the highest ranking seat because the most ships in our entire fleet have pledged loyalty to his flag. As you can guess, the Sea Wolf, Aldis, commands the second most numerous fleet of ships. As such, she is the second chair, and I am the third.
He rolls his head on his neck, as if to work out a stiff muscle.
Perhaps you would like to attend the proceedings when the Consuelo next convenes.
Show him Benwith Swollenet. I want 4th seat on the Consuelo Mascasitas.
The Consuelo will need to vote on it, but with your reputation, and if you vanquished Benwith, as appears to be the case, I do believe you are the most qualified to take his place, Ark.
Based on what he said when we asked him about the Consuelo, it's based on how many ships you have, or at least that's one of the qualifying factors. Now, I'm assuming the other captains on the council have more than one ship, and we only have one. So I feel like at most we only rate the 7th seat. But we'll see.
I will speak with Ferrante so that he may consider the matter further.
Farewell.
Ado, and how is the sea treating you, Watcher?
Ferrante has nothing to say on the matter yet. Let's level up our remaining companions. Arcana and Religion for Jody. Wall of Thorns. Creates a thick wall of gnarled thorns that inflicts pierce damage and applies a poison that causes a weakened state. Storm of Holy Fire. A terrible rain of fire falls in the area of effect, repeatedly inflicting burn damage on all in the area of effect. A little redundant. Cleansing Flame. The priest hurls a ball of holy fire at the enemy that purges its protections and speeds its doom. Does continuous burn damage and accelerates a timer for all beneficial and continuous damage effects before leaping to additional targets. That seems really good. Resurrection. A single ally is revived and healed. They receive the effects of barring death's door, and nearby allies are healed. Minor Avatar. The priest gains a supernatural glow, as he or she is infused with power. As a minor avatar of their deity, the priest gains bonuses in all attributes, health, and weapon damage. Shields for the Faithful. Conjures a powerful holy shield, granting a deflection bonus to all allies in the area of effect. Plus 20. Pretty generous. Lasting Empower. Empowered attacks gain increased duration on affliction and inspiration effects. Penetrating Empower. Empowered attacks gain increased penetration. Potent Empower. Empowered attacks gain increased damage. Accurate Empower. Empowered attacks gain increased accuracy. I'm a little hesitant to give her more burn damage, since we already have Pallegina and my main character who lean heavily into burn damage, and we keep coming across enemies who just don't care. Plus, this can also hit our party. As can this. I think I want to go with Minor Avatar. Aloth gets Mechanics and Bluff. We saw these when we leveled up Adair. Gonna grab Gouging Strike now. And we'll get Deep Wounds later. But Gouging Strike is essentially brand enemy, but raw damage. Gouge enemies causing raw damage over time until combat ends. And the reason I don't read all the wizard spells when we level up and unlock the next tier of spells is because there's just so many of them. And there's nothing I'm desperate for here. Let's grab Rapid Casting.
Right. Will do.
They have ships on their head.
Fresh fruit, vegetables, dried goods for long voyages. I got it all right here. What can I stock you up with today?
Show me what you have for sale. We have the money. Let's go ahead and buy it instead of stealing it.
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
That's her!
Looking for work. I've got coin and a few scores to settle.
Let's speak to Rosanella.
So you're the captain the old pork's been talking about. Aye, you do look like a fearsome sort. Welcome to Dunnage.
She slaps a hand onto the bar top with a hearty laugh.
What you having? I'll pour you a double.
What do you know about the floating hangman? Her eyes go wide. She fumbles a bottle of spirits, spilling rum all over the counter.
No one survives the floating hangman, or so they say. It's the ship of the dead. You spy it on the horizon, you flee as fast as you can.
Pietro sent me to you.
Ah, I guess the last concoction I made for him didn't do the trick then. Poor bastard. There's one last tincture recipe I know that won't kill him. Probably. It's called Andra's Bile, but I don't have all the ingredients in stock. You'll need a rotten hagfish, an unripened palm stone, and a vial of fire kelp extract. Have him mix it all with a half tankard of grog, and well, hope for the best.
Well, cool. We have 2 out of 3. Where can I find the ingredients?
Check the barrels around Lifter's Refuse for the rotten hagfish. You might be able to find unripened palm stone for sale somewhere in Radiant Court.
She pours a drink, but rather than passing it to a patron, she downs it herself.
Harker in the King's Coffin usually keeps some fire kelp extract on hand for special purposes. Be careful when dealing with that one.
Why do I need to get a rotten hagfish and not a regular hagfish?
The goal is to make him vomit, remember? A rotting hagfish produces a special oil once it reaches a certain level of decay.
Why didn't he try Andra's Bile earlier?
I did tell you the list of ingredients, eh? He'll have stuff dribbling out of both ends for a week. Maybe 2 if he's really unlucky.
Show me what you've got.
Sure.
Hello, Ingfrith? As you approach Ingfrith, he tenses but does not run. Her eyes go wide when she meets your own, shoulders high with a hunted look etched into her long face. Should it be haunted instead of hunted? Modwyr strains in your grasp, pulling desperately toward the figure in the crowd.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Her face is pale, her brow beaded with sweat. You act like a hunted woman. Why?
I had thought... I hoped to never...
She rubs a shaking hand across her eyes, which are red-rimmed and bloodshot.
Why did you bring it here?
She sinks back against the stone of the doorway and hangs her head.
You said you would come back for me, but you never did.
Modwyr's voice is unsteady, strained. It pulls toward Ingfrith, as if it were a needle and she a lodestone.
Alone for all those years, picked up and discarded by countless strange hands, hoping every time that they might be yours. What did I do wrong?
It was no fault of yours. It is I who am to blame.
Ingfrith kneels and lays a scarred, tentative hand on the flat of Modwyr's blade. You clearly care for Modwyr. What happened?
It was shame.
Ingfrith runs her fingers lightly down the length of the blade. Modwyr leans into her touch, warms beneath it.
I was born a cipher. As a young woman, I was apprenticed to a master animancer. He was keen to refine the art of housing souls, and he believed someone of my abilities might be an asset to his aim. My parents made a pretty copper on that deal.
She spits on the ground and grimaces.
When I left him, I took Modwyr with me. I thought it was my responsibility to look after it. I decided that my penance for Modwyr's creation would be to hunt those who used animancy for terrible ends.
You did your penance how?
For a time, I took a position with Dunnage Row in Defiance Bay. I saw things that haunt my nights still. With every unscrupulous animancer brought to justice, my guilt grew, knowing I was their equal in evils done.
She shifts her weight from foot to foot, unable to meet your eyes.
I fled for Deadfire to the Principe, but I was too naive to know that shame has fleet feet. It devoured me. I thought if Modwyr were gone, I might finally be free of my shame. How foolish I was. But what of you? What do you want?
She takes an unsteady breath and turns her attention back to Modwyr.
I don't remember my life before, so I can't hate you for stealing it from me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive your betrayal, but...
Sword leans heavily on Ingfrith, pressing its hilt into her thigh.
I would still prefer to stay with Ingfrith if she would have me.
I'm not so sure that's a good idea.
Perhaps your friend is right, Modwyr. Consider his words with care.
I'm not going to give up my sword.
I do care for you as well.
Sword leans away from Ingfrith and toward you. It presses into your leg.
I have to wonder, what'll happen to me after both of you die? Can my soul even return to the wheel? Though I've only known life as a weapon and I've no desire to die, neither do I want to live forever. I'm only a weapon. A tool. And even though you're still a ham-handed halfwit, I trust you. So you decide.
Let's go with option 2. I also want to see what the final upgrade is for Modwyr. I'll take up Ingfrith's duty to Modwyr, if she's so determined to abdicate it.
You're right. After what I've done, I have no claim to it.
Ingfrith grimaces. She glances once at the sword, and quickly away. Good, we finally got some approval with Aloth, which we're desperately in need of. As Ingfrith turns to leave, she walks slowly, as if waiting for someone to call after her. But Modwyr says nothing, and neither do you. Feel a featherlight touch in your mind. Countless voices swell, and their ethereal tongues speak only apologies. Then, like the breeze, they're gone. Modwyr's soul remains in this sword, but it is no longer bound exclusively to the Watcher. Modwyr has been placed in the stash and can now be bound to anyone. Interesting. True independence, immune to intellect afflictions. And we can enchant her as well. We didn't gain more dialogue or more flavor text for it.
Hey, so...
Modwyr's hilt cycles between hot and cold, indecisive.
we need to talk about what happened with Ingfrith.
How are you doing?
Good? Bad? I don't know how to feel. Should I be angry she was willing to let me go? Should I be happy you wanted to stay with me?
It's not unreasonable for you to feel both. I mean, that's a lot for any person to process.
Could you stop being right all the time? I hate it. You know what? You're right. We're good. I'm happy. The past is past, and all that emotionally healthy philosophical shit people say when they want to pretend they're over something.
It sighs.
Hey. Thanks. You know, for everything.
Of course. I just want you to be happy.
Ew. I think your sincerity's rubbing off on me. What will the other weapons think? Before you get all bent out of shape, I'm kidding. Mostly.
Modwyr's hilt begins to emanate a gentle glow. It sighs, and the hilt warms, soothing and familiar. But the sword's words fade, the warmth remains.
What do you want? Huh? What do you want? Gossip? Really? Now you're speaking my language.
I think, oh, Mirka is new.
Facena's probably the
Edwin sings wending epics when she thinks no one's listening. It'd almost be nice if it weren't for her terrible singing voice. Constantine and I haven't. Edwin
Facena's Constantine. Facena's problem.
What are you?
Let's go kill.
Okay, so she doesn't talk about Mirka. And then does Adair have... No, it doesn't. I do think the Watcher's Blade is more fitting. But this has a lot more effects. Instead, we can bind it to anybody in the party. There's no option to soulbind it.
Right.
It just meant anybody can equip it.
I've got it.
Epsilon. A cool name for a cat. While Epsilon is following you around, your recovery penalty from armor is reduced, and your party moves more quickly in combat. Ooh. Let's speak to Desiree.
You carry yourself like a person well acquainted with violence. Care to put your skills to use for a good cause? And some coin?
She dances a coin across her knuckles, mirth a bright glint in her eyes. Tell me about the cause you mentioned.
It's simple enough. The firebrand commanded by Captain Henqua once plagued the Deadfire. The skill and brutality of Henqua's crew was the stuff of legends.
Desiree flicks the coin she's holding and snatches it from the air with a grin. Up close, it's clearly a swellonet.
Legendary nightmares, more like. After how they did the crew with a virtuous reward. Even that bastard Benwith wanted nothing to do with them.
But pirate legends don't live long. Some months ago, an alliance of Neketaka pirate hunters managed to corner the firebrand and sink her off the coast of Tikawara. They confirmed Captain Henqua's death, but her senior crew members escaped unscathed. And now it seems like bringing the firebrand's crew to justice doesn't matter to anyone but me.
Even in the low light, you see a vein throbbing at her temple. Her voice drops to a low growl.
So I want you to kill them. And I'll pay you out of my own pocket if you do.
Sounds like you've got a grudge against the Firebrand's crew.
It's nothing personal. The crew earned their reputation through murder and thievery, and it would make me sick to see them regain an ounce of their power.
She tries for a nonchalant shrug, but it comes off looking like she's got a sore shoulder instead. As she speaks, Desiree removes a small swellonet from her pocket, polishes the surface with a corner of her shirt. Her features soften like she's visiting an old memory. Then she stuffs the coin back in her pocket with a barely audible sigh. Raise an eyebrow.
I know a questioning eyebrow when I see one, and I'm not in the mood to be giving answers. I've got family business to tend to, is all. But I suppose you have a right to know.
She pauses and slips a swellonet from her pocket again. It gleams golden in the low light.
My idiot kid sister was on the firebrand, seduced to a dishonest life by the promise of adventure. When the pirate hunters killed the crew and sank the ship, they also killed my sister. But those irredeemable lowlifes I sent you after got away without a scrape. I want them to pay. I don't much care how, so long as they take their turn on the wheel.
I'll hunt down those pirates. Who am I looking for?
The firebrand had a mascot. A useless little bastard who's taken to calling himself Lord Admiral Imp. He's not terribly dangerous on his own, but he's keen to make a nuisance of himself wherever he goes.
She rubs the bridge of her nose and sighs.
Last I heard, Lord Admiral Imp was making himself comfortable in Queen's Berth. You'll find him there with a few Zarups and constructs, the little buggers convinced to follow him. Bless their simple hearts.
Didn't I fight an imp in Queen's Berth already? I think there was 2 of them. Who's next on your list?
You'll be taking down Lady Ipiro, Captain Henqua's former first mate and rumored lover. She's a cipher, and a dangerous one at that. Ipiro maintains an estate in Serpent's Crown in Neketaka. But I wouldn't recommend you rush in muzzles blasting and swords held high. She keeps a number of bodyguards on her payroll.
She winks, all smiles. So I think that's the house that had the guard dogs in it. I'll be careful. Who else am I after?
You'll be going after Katren, the Firebrand's resident wizard. Rumor has it, she was once an apprentice to Arkemir before turning pirate. Last I heard, Katren and her sundry little minions could be found lazing about the sacred stair here in Neketaka at night. No idea where she disappears off to during the day.
Who's the last target?
I have a challenge for you, my friend. And his name is Torkar, leader of the Firebrand's boarding parties. He's an ogre, with a reputation for cleverness and cruelty both. I've even heard tell it was Torkar who was behind the Firebrand's most successful tactics, not Henqua. Torkar was last seen at Lifte's refuge here in Dunnage, dead set on joining a crew, or assembling his own. I trust you won't let that happen.
She cocks one dark eyebrow in question. Remind me, who I'm looking for again.
Torkar, the tactician. Big, ogre-shaped, makes his home in Dunnage. He shouldn't be too hard to find. There aren't many who fit his description, even among the pirates. Katren, the Firebrand's wizard. Last I heard, she was spending her time in the sacred stair in Neketaka. Lady Epiro's the one you want. You can find her estate in the Serpent's Crown in Neketaka, along with all her bodyguards and powerful friends. You're looking for the Firebrand's former mascot, Lord Admiral Imp. You'll find him somewhere in Queen's Berth, along with a gang of sundry other miscreants.
Farewell.
Happy hunting.
She nods and gives you a showy wink. I have quite a bit to do back in Neketaka.
My old captain was a drinker. The day he was born to the day he died. Always he was rail thin. He wound up with a wooden leg, 26 ships and a bilious fever. Sunrise is a woe, doves. The coming horizon is a sea-sized ruin.
Now the pirate cuts a glance to the side. The bout of jaunty music rackets up.
Andra's gills. There's no hope.
The artistic quality of the stage's backdrop is best described as enthusiastic.
That was a disaster of epic proportions if ever I directed one.
Arms flailing wildly before her, the stage performer shoos the other actors from the set.
A typhoon couldn't have cleared out our audience faster.
Who are you guys?
Oh, of course you haven't heard of us. Like I needed more proof that we're talentless hacks.
Her shoulders slump, but then she seems to regain herself, chin up as she answers you.
We're the Peg-Leg Performers. Formerly the Seabird Serenaders, formerly the Jax Finnegan First Ensemble of Dunnage. But now, well...
She tunnels her fingers through her hair, sighs.
My troupe's coming apart at the seams. We're short on cash, we're low on people, and we've run plumb dry on enthusiasm.
She ticks the points on her fingers.
We haven't drawn a decent crowd in more than a fortnight. And it ain't like pirates are hard to please. That's how you know the show really stinks. But I think I know what the problem is. We've got a lack of flair. If only I could hire more talented performers. I just know my play would take off.
What's your play about?
Only the biggest thing to hit the Deadfire since the Valian Trading Company started hunting us like sea hounds.
I'm talking about Aethus storming through the archipelago and capsizing nearly a whole fleet of our ships.
What would you need to improve the play?
A better Aethus, for one. I'm the tallest one in our troupe. I'm still not very convincing, even when I bother to dye my skin blue.
Oh, I bet you we can hire the wounded Amoa in Lifter's Refuge.
Also, our special stage effects aren't all that special anymore. We had someone for that role, but she got herself into debt and has a new job at the King's Coffin.
And we know who that is as well. I was trying to pay her debt off. But I didn't have the option. I'll help you.
Really? Well, that's great. Then we could...
Abruptly, her eyes narrow, her dark brows furrowing with heavy suspicion.
Wait a tick. Why would you help me? What do you get out of this?
I expect a cut of the profits, of course.
Ah, of course. Well, that's more than fair. I'm in desperate need of 2 more performers. A wizard for one, plus any oaf big enough to pose as Aethus. I happen to know a wizard of the finest skill set who already performs here in Dunnage, Diana, at the King's Coffin. But unfortunately, I got no idea of where we might find a suitable Aethus. Get me the right people for the parts, and I promise you'll be pleased with your investment. I'll turn us a profit or die trying. Everything's coming along beautifully on our end. I got a new script I'm drafting up.
What's your play about?
Only the biggest. Everything's coming along beautifully on our end. I got a new script I'm drafting up. A better Aethus. I'm in I happen to know. Everything's coming.
Okay.
They sail on their gilded brigs, and they wail. Buzz. Put down anchor, and don't loot so much. But when should we lot? The Watcher where is and a how regular ship hunter. Drinks more, doves.
Anyone who kills him. Veiling trading bastards is a right hero of mine.
I'm telling you, ask for Irina in the King's Coffin. She'll make you see
morning
stars.
is a blight.
You half-masted sot! She's got to be 90 years old!
A pus-filled boil.
Oh, we got hemp. I think he has blue eyes. While hemp is following you around, you receive a bonus to Constitution, and your party receives a bonus to Fortitude. Oh, I didn't see this barrel up here. We'll loot that, then we'll call it an episode. And in the next one, we'll try to finish with the Radiant Court. We have a few self-contained quests here in Dunnage, and a few quests in Nekataka. So see if we wrap up Dunnage next time. Looks like we also have a merchant to check out. So we'll see. But for now, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.